Hello and welcome. I'm glad you're here. Today, I want to offer a perspective on the idea of focus. And I'll start by saying you're no doubt well aware of the understanding that what you pay attention to is what you keep active in your consciousness, and therefore what you're likely to experience more of. And so often we use the word focus to indicate what we're paying attention to. So you might have heard the phrase, what you focus, you get more of what you focus on. And that's a very valid way of, of explaining the concept. And the word focus can perhaps be a little misleading depending on how we are holding it, how we're interpreting it. A lot of us interpret the word focus to mean narrow, like a laser, a narrow focus. And so we think that we have to really focus on what we want in order to activate vibrations about what we want and to invite them into our experience. However, you can probably tell just by the way I did this, the idea of focusing can become narrow to the point of being rigid. It can introduce tension. In the fifth dimension, there is no getting. What we want naturally exists. It's all right here, right now, vibrationally. And what we're learning to do is allow it into our experience to realize what's already present. In the fourth dimension, we're still a little oriented toward fixing what's wrong or closing the gap between where we are and what we want. And so that's the perception of a gap, the perception of lack, the perception of something being wrong leads us to think, well, okay, now I have to manifest something to fill the gap, to remediate the lack. While we're thinking now in terms of energy and consciousness, which is an expansion beyond the third dimension, we're still oriented toward lack, toward what isn't here that we want to make happen. And so that's, again, a very fourth dimensional perspective. And when we get our hands on the idea of focus, we apply that within this same kind of, I got to get this right. I got to get this right. I got to focus on what I want in order to experience it. And all of that just generates more tension, more concern about getting it right. And it just keeps us, kind of stuck where we are. And then we get frustrated because here we think we're focusing on something that we want, but it's still not showing up. And that's because in the way we're approaching the idea of focus, we're actually keeping active the idea within us, the vibrations within us, that we could do this wrong and that there is something to do. There is something to do in order to get what isn't here. So we want to just set all of that aside, just acknowledge this is, one of the ways that we can sort of get confused and stuck in the fourth dimension. Just acknowledge that and step back and come into a fifth dimensional perspective of wholeness and completeness, that we are always whole and complete just as we are, and we're always expanding into more. I am whole and complete just as I am, and expanding into more. So whatever it is we might want more of, perhaps greater vitality in our physical bodies, greater financial abundance, greater peace in our lives and in our world, whatever it is that we would love to experience more of, we still see where we are as perfectly fine. We are already experiencing a certain level of, say, health, and we're eager to experience an even greater level of vitality. So it's starting from this idea of wholeness and completeness and this natural desire for more, for different, for infinite ways of experiencing these various qualities that are available to us. So we're starting from wholeness, we're starting from completeness, we're acknowledging that the creative life force wants to experience more. So as we acknowledge that and open to that, we are then focusing on the more, but not this way. This way, we are expanding our focus. We are allowing our attention, our awareness to expand, to imagine the more, to welcome the more, to play with ideas and concepts and experiences in this greater vision. So in fifth dimension, as we create more, the way we focus is in this expanded way, in this visionary way, in this uplifted way. And our imaginations are so key to that because, I mean, think of imagination itself as expansive. And so as we allow ourselves to imagine what more we could experience, and that doesn't always mean more in terms of quantity, but more richness, more nuances, more delight, more satisfaction, whatever that might be in whatever area of life we're talking about. It's a sense of something new, right? It's something different, something more than we have experienced, something different than we have experienced. So we allow our imaginations to guide us. We allow inspiration to guide us. We allow synchronicities to guide us. We allow the energy to guide us. And this is yet another, I'll say, hallmark of the fifth dimension, is we're shifting away from thinking and planning and opening to being led, being called, being guided by the life force itself, flowing through us as guidance, flowing through us as inspiration, flowing through us as impulses in the moment to try something new, and flowing through us as imagination. So if we're in a place right now where our fourth dimensional perspective would see it as, oh, I got this illness, or I don't feel very well, we can start practicing the fifth dimensional perspective right now and just say, you know what, I've already got this, I'm already healthy to a certain degree, and I would love to be healthier, and I would love to be healthier. And then call on the imagination to open us to what this healthier might look and feel like. And as we allow ourselves to do that, and we begin to relax, and we begin to feel how that feels, now we are bringing our vibrational, I'll say, set point into greater harmony with the source that we are, with the vibrant health that we already are. And that is bringing us into a place of greater realization, an opportunity to realize greater health in this example. I'm sure I'll be saying a lot more about this in future videos, but I wanted to introduce this idea up front or early on in these videos, starting right now, intending right now to shift the perspective of where you are from what might be a fourth dimensional perspective of there being still something wrong or something missing, taking a time out from all of that, stepping back and saying, wait a minute, I am as and where I am meant to be. I am whole and complete just as I am, and I am eager to experience more, something different. So we're not introducing the idea of lack. And then allow your imagination to expand you, to uplift you, to illuminate you, really. And have fun with that, because the fifth dimensional experience is joyful. It is expansive. It is uplifting. It is radiant. And that's the kind of feeling state we want to continue to cultivate. And just to wrap this up, you'll notice that I'm going to start using the word realization rather than manifestation, because it helps. I believe choosing different language can help orient us away from concepts that may be fourth dimensional. So, as I said earlier, if we're still thinking in terms of something is missing or something is wrong and I need to fix it, I need to manifest a solution, I need to manifest greater abundance, I need to manifest perfect health, that orientation is still keeping active the concepts of lack and limitation. And so even though the word manifestation is perfectly valid and perfectly good, even in the fifth dimension, I'm going to use the word, as much as I can remember to do so, realization, just to distinguish, to differentiate what happens in the fifth dimension, which is we just become more and more open, become more and more vibrationally coherent with what already exists, the perfect health that is already natural to us, the abundance that is already natural to us. We become more vibrationally compatible, which means that then we can start to perceive it through our physical senses. And so we start to realize that it becomes real in our physical experience. And that's what we're moving into, is this more fluid, flowing, follow the energy experience of harmonizing ourselves with our natural state of being as extensions of source, and then allowing again the abundance of all that we want to become real in our physical experience. So we begin to realize greater health, greater vitality, greater abundance, all of it. So I will leave you with that. Trust me when I say you really are as and where you're meant to be. You are whole and complete just as you are now, and you're always expanding into more.